Most people who commit violence have been victims of violence. Or
there is something unique about you and your culture that makes a difference.
Everything we do tells us, or tells others, something about us.
I am Lance Garrison, and I have the good fortune to serve as the campus president of this wonderful educational community that we call Argosy University, San Francisco Bay Area. At Argosy University, our passion is teaching and learning. We develop professional competence, provide opportunity for personal growth, and foster interpersonal effectiveness. Students succeed because our university community engages and supports them. I'd like to welcome everyone to our inaugural First Wednesday Speaker Series presentation. With this presentation, we hope to create a vehicle for enhanced engagement outside of the classroom and with the integration of distance learning tools outside of the confines of our physical location as well. I firmly believe our Speaker Series will support our mission through the learning opportunities it will provide, its opportunities for personal growth, and its support for a vibrant community of learning here at the campus and beyond. Without further ado, today's speaker is Sarah O'Neill Rush, and I cannot think of a better person to launch our series. Sarah is a member of our fantastic group of undergraduate studies adjunct faculty, and she is the great-granddaughter of former slave turned famous educator and founder of Tuskegee University, Booker T. Washington. She is the founder and executive director of Booker T. Washington Empowerment Network, a nonprofit organization created to carry on the legacy of her great-grandfather and inspire the hopes of inner-city youth. In addition, she is a professor of psychology here at Argosy, an author, national speaker, and she has worked professionally in the field of clinical psychology, holding a variety of positions, primarily in the areas of counseling and social work for at-risk youth and their families. Please join me in welcoming Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction, Dr. Garrison. And I'm here today I was here last year, and I was invited back this year, which is always good. And so some of you may have been in the room last year. It looks like most of you were not. But this year, there are a lot of familiar faces, and Dr. Addo and my former student back there, and Sean, and of course Mahal. And I thank Mahal for thinking of me and inviting me, and thank you all for having me today. So one of the things I'm going to do different from the way I did it last year is I'm going to do this more informally. I'm going to go through some slides. And what I'm hoping to do is first, in connecting the past to inspire the future, I'm going to talk about lessons that I learned from my great-grandfather, although he died long before I was born. In fact, died 4 years before my mother was born, and he was her grandfather. And so I want to talk about the lessons that inspired me, though, from him, and hopefully to inspire you all, and so that you guys can inspire others. And after that, I'm going to go through my story, a little bit about how he really inspired me, where I started out and where I ended up due to the lessons, if we have time. And then from there, any questions. And then I also have a book that's available. Last time I was here, I only had 3, and I had a lot more than 3 people that were asking for them, and I just got them back, or got another shipment of them, so I have them with me today. So my great-grandfather, Booker T. Washington, was able to rise above slavery. A lot of people know him as being the founder of Tuskegee University, but he actually did a whole lot more than that. So he was able to rise above slavery to become a famous educator, distinguished speaker, and influential leader, and a great thinker. He had over 10 million followers, and imagine today, that was without Twitter. Okay, he had over 10 million followers without Twitter, without email, without Facebook, without computers, without any of that. Up from Slavery. It was a bestseller, and it was so inspirational that it's never been out of print, and it was translated into over 17 different languages. And I have lots of copies, different copies, because what happens is people rewrite the introduction and they republish it over and over. So if you go to Barnes & Noble or Borders, and they're getting to be fewer and further between nowadays, but they're always on the shelf. I always go and check to see if they have them on the shelf. He was the first African American to be commemorated on a U.S. postage stamp in a 50-cent coin, and I have examples of those here, or samples of those. And his vision led to Tuskegee's campus being suitable for the Tuskegee Airmen to conduct pre-flight training long before there were Red Tails. So the movie Red Tails was about the Tuskegee Airmen, but it was his vision long time ago, before they were even born, that led to that, because that field was suitable. But also, I went to Atlanta. I went to my first homecoming homecoming at Tuskegee University last year in October, because my daughter is in her last year there. So I went. I'd never been to a college homecoming, let alone a black college homecoming, and it was incredible, and it was just on fire. But we landed in Atlanta, which is 2 hours away from Tuskegee, and we went to Gladys Knight's restaurant there. And who's heard of oh God, Terrence Howard? Who knows? You guys know who Terrence? So he was in the restaurant, and someone told me he was there. And my husband was saying, let him know who you are, because he starred in Red Tails. And I said, and so I called my daughter and told her that he was there. And she said, I heard he's really nasty, or he's mean, got a bad attitude. I said, okay, that's enough for me. I'm not going to say anything. And so then I saw him talking to a table of ladies who pulled him over. And I said, okay, he doesn't seem nasty. And I told him who I was, and he was excited. And he said he has a doctorate in, I think, chemical engineering or some type of engineering, and he wanted to do a project with Tuskegee because of their great engineering program, which is another vision that Booker T. Washington set out. And so he wanted to be in talks with the president, which I let the president know, but he said he'd already talked to him. So, and then he was the first African American invited to dine at the White House. And if you listen to Senator McCain's concession speech, in his first paragraph, you can Google it, he says, we've come a long way since the days of Booker T. Washington in the election. He's referring to the election of Barack Obama.